decided what better time to do my little video presentation that I owe you, because I'm wearing a nice shirt because I actually had a presentation earlier at 1 today. I'm a little more pumped up in the evening time than the morning, by the way. I got my little peppermint coffee. You have the right to be jealous. But back to the topic that's important here. I did my my little lesson plan for the thematic unit. I did it on technology, and it's at the because students have already done a bunch of lessons on the different technologies learned in the unit, and this one's just concluding it so that they can practice for their Regents exam by writing the 5-paragraph essay. So I chose for it to be an AIS room to switch it up because I know a lot of people wouldn't do that, so all these students struggle in the class and they need special help. The prior knowledge that they have, they've already done all the technology units, so they've done stuff on the cotton gin, railroads, steel plow, automobile, nuclear energy, and a few more. But so the goal of this lesson is to let students pick 2 of those, and they will have the opportunity to be given a past Regents exam prompt where they write the 5-paragraph essay. So at the beginning of the lesson consists of just a review of the different types of technology talked about in the unit, a review of what the thematic essay portion of the Regents exam looks like. So we'll review both of those. They've already written an essay before and they've already gone over the technology, so we're just going to review those things so that today we can put them together. Students will be told why it is important that they write the thematic essay involving technology, because chances are there's going to be stuff about technology on the Regents exam, and that test is coming up soon for them, so they need to prepare by practicing. The learning target will be written on the board during this part, and the learning target that I chose for this lesson says, we will be able to organize what we know about technology, research what we do not know, and put this information into a graphic organizer. And I'll go over the graphic organizer in a little bit. And then we can take that information and write a 5-paragraph essay. So it's going to be important that students know how to use a graphic organizer because it'll help them put their thoughts together on what they need to write about. Because some kids just can't start writing. They need to really organize their thoughts. And then that'll make it easier for them to put that information in a good way so that it's understandable to the people who are reading their exam. So in the middle of the lesson, the prompt will be given out, so I'll actually hand out what their prompt is for the essay. And the rubric will be gone over. So students' expectations, they will know what their expectations are. We will go over what it means to get a 1 on the essay, a 2, a 3, and a 4. 4 being the highest score that you can get on the Regents exam. And then I'll pass out the 5-paragraph graphic organizer. And in this case, it's going to be a 4-paragraph graphic organizer because the prompt given out only requires 4 paragraphs to be written to organize this essay, because it's comparing and contrasting 2 technologies, the pros and cons, and what's good and bad. So in 1 paragraph, they'll write an introduction. The next one will be about one of the pros and cons to one of the technology pieces that they chose. The next paragraph will be the pros and cons of the other technology piece that they chose. And then the last paragraph will conclude everything. And then after that, the students will be broken up into groups to do their own graphic organizer. And actually, before they do that, I'll go over an example with them. I'll actually model how to, for the intro paragraph, I'll model how to jot down ideas so that I can then write my intro paragraph. And in a second, I'll get out that graphic organizer and show you what I mean. And then, so they'll be broken up into groups to do their own, and then they will be encouraged to discuss their ideas with classmates. So what I will have them do is I'll tell them to alone work on your intro paragraph and then discuss your ideas with other students to see if they can give you new ideas to make your essay better. So it's going to be an interactive activity. And then after they finish the graphic organizer, working through that process paragraph by paragraph, then they'll have the opportunity to start the essay. But I don't expect that all students will get that far. What meets my expectations is that students will get through maybe the graphic organizer, at least the body paragraphs in that time period, and then they'll have to finish it for homework, and then they'll have about a week, or I don't know what I said, a certain amount of time to finish the essay. So they'll have time to really think about this and figure out what they need to do to become good at it. And obviously below expectations would just be they're goofing off and they're not really focusing on the task. But hopefully all students will be focused on this, knowing that they'll have great reward if they do so by passing the Regents. So I guess that pretty much covers my whole lesson plan. There's a bunch more in there based on how many sections there are that we're required to do for this template, but I'll just go over the graphic organizer real quick. So this is the graphic organizer. It's a 5-paragraph graphic organizer, but I just turned it into a 4-paragraph one. Obviously, this is the one that you put on the page. I just stole that one. Obviously, you can't read this writing and no one would want to, so I'm just showing you which one I use, but I actually jotted down the notes that I also posted this online. It's a more organized version of the same graphic organizer, just not really the graphic organizer, just notes on it. So like what I would do when I would use that graphic organizer that I just showed you, and I would model for students how to do the first paragraph of the graphic organizer. So like a good introduction would consist of a first sentence introducing the technology prompt. Throughout history, technological advancements have brought change to America. These changes have had positive and negative effects, because the two main things that they need to cover is 2 pieces of technology, and they needed to cover the positive and negative effects in their essay. That's the 2 main points that are on the prompt. And then sentence 2, they need to introduce their first piece of technology. So for my example, I just said introduce the cotton gin. And then sentence 3, introduce nuclear energy. That's the thing I picked for my second one. So introduce your second piece of technology there. Sentence 4 is, even though these 2 developments have had negative effects, they still have had positive effects on America's development. So just explaining in the introduction that throughout this essay I'm going to be talking about positive and negative effects that these 2 pieces of technology have had on our nation. So I guess I'll just go over one of these. I'll go over the nuclear energy one. So a good paragraph about nuclear energy, talking about the pros and cons, would be something like this. In the first sentence, introduce it, talk about it started in 1960, it's the fission in atoms, blah blah blah, and then introduce a pro. It is a cleaner form of fuel than fossil fuels. There is no greenhouse gases. And then go on to introduce more pros, blah blah blah, and then introduce the cons. A con is there was death of fish. Power plants need water, and there's constant contact with radiation. So just talk more about that in depth and stuff. So and then in the conclusion, they just want to pull all those, just conclude about the pros and cons of the 2 pieces of technology they chose, and then really just do their final thoughts about it. And like a good final thought on this is, even though negative effects come out of technology advancement, it is a positive concept. People learn through trial and error. Creativity and trying to invent for the greater good is a good quality to have. So like encouraging students to really come up with a critically thought out conclusion on what is this prompt telling us. So I mean, like I'd have this with me. Like obviously I'd probably only just go over one of these and then let students start working, but if they're to support students who needed help for differentiation, I would probably have this handy and all thought out, so then when students have questions about a certain paragraph, then I could just go up to them and say, this is what something like this would look like, and here's how you do it. So yeah, so in my opinion, just the simple 4-paragraph graphic organizer is the best way to go about this. Just really being there for your students and making sure they're on task and really helping them out as they practice for this exam. That's the best way to go about it. So hope you're having a great evening, and we'll catch you on Saturday.